Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening depending on where you are in this amazing world. My name is Donovan Jolly, and welcome everybody once again for another amazing video of DIY investing. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys all of the charts that you need to know exactly when the market bottom is going to be taking place for Bitcoin. You guys already know that during this recent dip, I've been getting as leveraged as possible because I'm super confident inside of my conviction that we're going to see new all-time highs inside of this cycle. I'm going to break it down for you guys, share with you guys exactly what I'm looking for over the next couple months, and how to go about profiting off of this over the long term. If you're new and just finding this channel, always remember to do me a favor by leaving a like, comment, and subscribing to this channel for more updates. Always remember to click that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos like the one provided for you here. And make sure you guys sign up and join the Discord server of over 21,000 members and growing. Links are in the description for you guys to do so. You can also download my free ebook and beginner's guide to crypto. Check it out. Links are in the description. And with all that being said, guys, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so here we are. The first thing we're going to talk about today is Bitcoin. Now, we had a massive sell-off over the last couple days. Our low actually got stitched in here at about 25,300, and this was just a big sell-off. We had a lot of volume that came in here, which is exactly what we wanted to see with capitulation, right? Now, you guys already know, inside of this sell-off, I've been getting super leveraged. I'm really confident in the long term of where crypto is going to go, and I feel like it's a good opportunity to get back in the market. And for me, you know, I was starting to get leveraged up here, but when the market sold off, this is really where I'm focusing in on getting as hardcore into this as I possibly can. You know, I only took a couple spot positions before. Now I'm really taking a number of my different spot opportunities, and I'm actually leveraging what I can with those. Now, keep in mind, guys, that this is going to be a very volatile period. I don't necessarily recommend that anybody do what I'm doing personally, but, you know, I've been in the market for a while, and I've seen these type of sell-offs. I've seen how the market reacts and different people react. And I'm telling you guys that everything that I know is pointing that this is capitulation. And we're going to talk about that. What does capitulation look like? What could we expect from here? And we're going to get into that today right now. Now, first and foremost, guys, our support level, that the lowest point that we made inside of the summer, was going to be over here at about 28,750, somewhere in there. Now, let's move this out of the way before we get to that. What we saw was this massive sell-off, and temporarily we actually went below that. We went all the way down to 25,000 and a half, basically, and we ended up getting this buyer stepping in, and we've closed back above this support. Now, this is a really interesting period of time where I'm expecting a lot of volatility. Now, for me personally, I believe that this is some type of capitulation. I don't believe that. Most likely, we're not going to break below the previous low that we set in here. Now, could we easily sell back down and retest back down in here? 100%. And that's why I'm telling you guys right now we should expect to see some volatility, which is ultimately why I grabbed the COVID correction, and I'm sharing that with you guys today. Now, let's actually dive back over here, and let's go to a 12-hour time frame, and let's just go and look at that massive capitulation, because in my opinion, that is only the real comparable thing that we have to look at for the most part, because it was recent in the cycle, and this was a very big drop. Now, the type of price action that we actually saw after that capitulation was very important. And remember, guys, what we want to see in capitulation is a lot of sell volume. Now, it doesn't have to be maximum sell volume, but the more volume, the better, right? And we can see in COVID, we had more volume coming in here than basically ever before. And so that was a very big indicator that, you know, the bottom was going to be in. There's lots of volume stepping in here, but it wasn't instantaneous that we started going up, right? We had this wick. We had this first sell-off here. We bounced up, and then we had this next sell-off that took us all the way back down to 38. And then from there, we bounced all the way back up again, right? We kind of chopped, had another fake bull trap. This is a really big bearish exhaustion candle. So right then and there, it looked super sketchy. And I remember a lot of people saying that that was when we were going to go to $1,800, $1,700 and all of that. And then the market did sell off, and we went pretty low again. You know, we went way back down in here and retest even inside of the middle of this wick. We went below the candle bodies here, and we dipped all the way back down to a low of 4,400 before swinging back up once again. But I mean, even after that, I mean, we swung up, but we were still below this resistance here. That was still just a bearish retest. I remember every single person drawing big rising wedges throughout this entire period, all throughout here, especially when we sold off right here and we were in this period. Everybody was calling for a massive sell-off, and this was going to be, the biggest capitulation ever as Bitcoin crashes below support. And, everybody just said it was going to completely die, basically. And it reminds me super similarly of what we see today. And some of the reasons why I'm sharing with this comparison is because of the different types of reactions I've seen from Twitter, I've seen from different other influencers on YouTube and stuff. And what we've noticed inside of the sell-off was during this period up here, we had a lot of people that were just basically bullish. I was bullish. I expected that we were going to be bottoming up here, especially when we had so much divergence that formed right here. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case. We had this massive sell-off, and I believe that this sell-off was also amplified because of the entire Luna problem, where Luna completely crashed from 40 billion in market cap to nothing. I think that that was another reason why this sell-off was enhanced, because they were actually dumping large amounts of Bitcoin on the open market to try and repeg the value of their UST stablecoin. And obviously that didn't work out for them because now Luna's completely worthless. But I believe that these are the type of things that you see at capitulation. And we have to take a step back from the price sometimes, take a step back from how our emotions might be, where our portfolios are down significantly. And it's important to just look back and focus on what other people are doing, focus on the reaction that we're seeing from the rest of the market. And in my opinion, what we're seeing from the rest of the market is a lot of panic, a lot of type of panic that we see inside of a capitulation event. And one of the big things I like to remember during these times is the fact that one of the things that we often see is different news articles that start coming out, and then it's talking about why crypto is going to crash and go to zero, basically. We're starting to see a lot more of that type of stuff. And every time I see these type of news articles starting to come out, that is generally when we're going to see a big bottom. I've also seen a number of influencers on Twitter that have said that they're going to be taking breaks throughout this period. There's been a lot of people that got liquidated, a lot of people talking about major liquidations inside their portfolios, and that's just what you see at capitulation. There was a lot of people that were getting over leveraged. I started getting leveraged in here, but that's why I always tell you guys, if you're going to do stuff like that, you have to set a stop loss. You have to protect your capital, because if something like this happens and you're just stuck in the position, you're going to get liquidated. And when you get liquidated, you don't have an opportunity to get back in at a lower price. At least if you got stopped out, you can take the 5 to 10% loss, whatever it is, and you can jump back in when you feel like it's a good time. In my opinion, this is a great time for crypto, even if we're going to see some volatility in here. Keep in mind, guys, that the same way that this COVID capitulation kind of developed, we could see the same thing playing out here inside of this for this consolidation that we're in today for Bitcoin. Now, remember, in that COVID capitulation, we had this sell-off that took us all the way back down here, which would be like 27,500 for Bitcoin. That would bring us back below the perceived support that we have here at 28,500, right? And so that would be another thing where we're going to see a lot of people starting to say that we're in a bear market. I've already seen that. And what's interesting, guys, is as Bitcoin was coming up here and I was talking about the end of the year blow off top, and then we didn't get that, everybody said that the 4-year cycle was stupid and that it was never going to be anything. And then everybody said that lengthening cycles were the new thing, right? And then the market started crashing. And the people that were talking about lengthening cycles now started saying that we're in a bear market. And the people that were hating on 4-year cycles started to say that they were right and that we actually did top at the end of the year. I'm here to tell you guys that that's not true. We're in a lengthening cycle. And in my opinion, it became obvious when we didn't see a blow-off top. This isn't going to be a cycle where we don't see a blow-off top. I'm here to tell that to you guys right now. That's my personal belief. And I have enough conviction that this is going to be a cycle low before we have a massive move to new all-time highs, which is why I'm getting leverage into the market. I don't advise anybody else to do the same unless you're going to do proper risk management, unless you're going to set a stop loss, unless you're going to do all of the things that you need to, which most people don't do those things. So I'm just going to tell you, don't do it. Unless you're going to go through and actually take the time and effort to do it the right way, don't do it at all, because you will just cost yourself more money in the end. For me, I have a lot of conviction that this is going to be a cycle low. And when we compare volume, notice this volume that we're seeing in here. Let's draw a straight line so that we can see prior volumes that have stacked up this size. We'll make it right there. So we only have a number of other volumes that have broke out to this frequency. This was during the capitulation here. Yes, we retested that low throughout this period, but this was a cycle low here. Yeah, I mean, we barely ever even went lower. That was pretty much the bottom. And what we see here is another large amount of volume stepping in, right at a low. Right here, another large amount of volume stepping in here at a low. Right here, a large amount of volume stepping in here. This is actually at a high, a lower high, but that was what led to the reversal to our low. And so we see this inside of the markets. And our last major breakout in volume would have been the March 2020 sell-off during COVID, right? But you guys see what I'm talking about here. We can see the patterns have developed where we are at the point where we're getting a large amount of volume that is stepping in here. And that's what I think that we need to pay attention to. I mean, when we draw our line at our support approximately, even if this closes below, even if we get some chop down in here, something like that, it's hard to say what this ultimately is going to consolidate into. But I'm here to tell you guys that you'll be better off accumulating during this period than you will be panic selling, expecting a bear market. That's just my personal belief. What we really need to see is us break out of some of this resistance. Once we can kind of consolidate here, which, you know, it might happen a lot faster than people think, and I do believe that that's ultimately going to be the case because I believe that this is taking us to a wave 5. When we look at this chart on the bigger picture, we still have a lot of consolidation left as far as price appreciation to the upside. We've only ever finished our big picture wave 1, wave 3, this is wave 4, and we still have a wave 5 to go in this cycle. And so why would you not be accumulating at the bottom of a bigger picture wave 4 before we get the final move in this cycle, which I believe is going to be taking us above $200,000. To me, when I look at the chart, this is enough volume that we're seeing in here to constitute a major cycle low. I mean, this is the same size of volume that we saw during major reversal points inside of the market, major cycle lows, cycle highs inside of the market. This was the breakout volume throughout this period. I mean, we can see this a number of different times inside of the market. Whenever we have large amounts of volume to the significance of right now that we're seeing inside of it, this is a cycle low. So I don't know what else to tell you guys besides the fact that I can only say that I'm getting confident inside the market. I get confident whenever we're at a cycle low where I think that it's a good time to accumulate. Yeah, I got a little bit ahead of myself over throughout this period, but now that we've sold off 30%, you guys can bet your ass that I'm getting more invested right now. I mean, why wouldn't I? It makes no sense that if I was bullish before and now we get a deeper correction, why would I flip bearish all of a sudden? Especially when we're still at this major support level. You know, we're going to see volatility, but ultimately what we're going to be watching for is what happens with the stock market, what happens with the dollar index. Because what we see here, and what I've actually been watching for, is when is the S&P 500 going to bottom? For me, what I've been looking at this entire time, this just looks like your classic ABC correction. Which is why I haven't been too worried about what we're seeing inside of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going to be following the equity markets. Whatever the equities and the stocks are doing, Bitcoin's going to follow. Now, there is periods of time when Bitcoin goes on runs and it just kind of outperforms everything and doesn't correlate as much. We will expect to see the same thing, but only once the stock market is bottomed. Once confidence steps back in with the stock market, that's when people are willing to invest back into cryptocurrencies. Now, the big thing I want you guys to pay attention for is we have actually completed 5 waves down inside of our C, which is in every ABC, you have to have 5 impulse waves inside of every C leg. And we've seen that. We had wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all the way down. And we actually hit almost perfectly to my target that I had down in here. We stopped just a little bit above. And that was 3,850. Now, one of the things I was watching for was the OBV here. Now, we actually have 3 attempts at breaking below this support, and we have yet to do so up to this point. Now, is it possible that this does? Yes, 100%. And that's the thing that we've been watching for. There is no true confirmation inside the market yet, and that's what we need to be watching. But at the same time, guys, whenever we're at a major cycle low inside of the market never looks good. And that's the thing we need to remember. During COVID, when Bitcoin was at $3,800, even when it bounced back up to $5,500 and it was chopping throughout that period, it looked like crap the entire time. And it was throughout that period that everybody was on the edge of their seat. Everybody was waiting, wondering, oh my gosh, is it going to break support? Is it going to crash and burn and fall? And am I just going to lose all of my money? And that's literally what it looks like at every major cycle low. It doesn't matter where it was. The whole market looked the same when Bitcoin was at $30,000 the first time last summer. The whole market looked like it was ready to fall off a cliff. Everybody was saying it was going to go to 20,000, and then we bounced back up and went to 69,000. The whole market bounced up again. Even though that was a lower high for altcoins and Bitcoin, it was a higher high for Bitcoin, but we're having a deeper correction inside of Bitcoin and making a lower low. It's never really changed anything on the big picture. Now, what we have to see here is we need to see this bullish divergence form. We need to see it hold. And if we can see it hold here in the stock market and this ABC correction is fulfilled, that is when we're going to see Bitcoin rise. But I mean, if you're looking at this from a major cycle low, if you believe that the ABC correction is in, if you believe that this bullish divergence is going to follow through, then this is ultimately going to be the major cycle low for Bitcoin, and that's what we will watch for. And so, guys, the big thing, once again, expect expect volatility in the short term. That is going to be key here. Now let's talk again about the Bitcoin dominance. Let's get into some other charts here. Now with the Bitcoin dominance, we're once again right at this resistance, but this is an impulse, and this is looking like it's going to break out of this descending triangle. What it looks like from here, this is going to retest the previous high that we set in. It's going to break up, and we're going to retest to at least the top of this resistance, which is going to be about 48, almost 50% dominance. And really, guys, it doesn't have to stop at this resistance. I wouldn't be surprised if we even bounced up to retest somewhere in the range up here of this lower high, where we could go all the way upwards of 52% dominance. Maybe we pull back and have one more. These are all potentials that we need to watch for, but I do believe that at this point it's going to break out of this descending resistance. But I don't think it changes the big picture. I still believe that this is going to be basically just a fake breakout. It's going to have this bull trap. Eventually it's going to retest. Eventually it's going to retest a resistance, whether it's this one or whether it's this one. And then once we do start to fall, that's when I believe that we're going to have a massive run in the altcoins. I don't know exactly how high it's going to be going, whether it's the first resistance at 49% or whether it's the next one at 52. I would expect that most likely it's going to stop at the first one, just based off the way different altcoin pairs look and where we're at inside the market. But I mean, generally, whenever Bitcoin bottoms in a market at a major cycle low, usually it's going to outperform. Well, I mean, it always outperforms. And then altcoins sometimes make a lower low against their Bitcoin pairs. And Bitcoin will kind of start to first break out of its bottom, and then altcoins will kind of pick up after. And then that's what we would expect to see here. In the short term, Bitcoin, when it first starts to break out of a low, which I believe is going to be happening relatively soon to where we're at. Like I said, we can get a lot of volatility in between, especially with the weekend coming upon us. You know, the markets are going to close. At the end of the day, I don't think the S&P is going to give us a lot of clear direction for the most part. This is still going to chop around a little bit. We might not know for a little while what this is going to resolve into. And so with the market closing for the stocks on this day, exactly on Friday, we're going to expect to see throughout the weekend of Bitcoin a lot of chop. And that's why I think the best thing to do is just kind of ignore it. Don't focus so much on that. Just make sure your positions are protected, stop losses, all of that good stuff. Now, let's talk again about the DXY, the US dollar index, because I think that this is going to be another one of the most important charts that we can cover today, based off of what is going on. I mean, Bitcoin's going to do the inverse of this chart. If the dollar's uptrending, Bitcoin's going to be going down, stock market's going to be going down, commodities are going to be going down, and all of that stuff. I don't believe that the dollar is going to be going up continuously like this. And the reason why is because we look at the world, we see that they just hyperinflated. Over 50% of all dollars were created in the last couple of years. You know, so much stimulus was created out of thin air. And so that is going to ultimately impact the value of the dollar. Now, we also have rising interest rates. We also have all of this crap going on between Russia. There's a lot of stuff that's not good for the dollar, and that's why I believe that this entire move up is deviation. What I want you guys to remember is a basic pattern that we saw over here, where we saw this sort of accumulation structure inside of the dollar, where we had this support and we had this resistance, right? We made these two attempts at breaking out. This was the first one. We fall to support, make another attempt, fall back to support, and then we actually break out of this resistance. But this is a bull trap, right? We only temporarily break out, and then we fall to new lows. Now, I want you guys to remember that pattern, and then we come right here. Let's remove these drawing tools right here, and let's talk about what we're seeing in today's market right now. So let's draw this exact same support and resistance box. And let's talk about what we're seeing inside the market today. This one's going to be red. So what we're seeing is the exact same setup. Literally no different. We had the high. We fall back down to support. We retest the high again. We fall back down to support. And this is literally the bull trap. And definitely can go up a little bit higher. I mean, we saw that happen here. This went up quite a bit higher than the all-time high. We're just barely outside of that. But if you look at the price structure, this is pretty parabolic. This is very parabolic. I don't think that's anything that's going to last, which is why I think it's really important that we're watching for this exact same scenario, because I believe it's going to play out in the same way. There is nothing here fundamentally that's saying that the dollar is going to continue to go up in value. Everything inside of the world is showing that this move up is deviation. This is a bull trap before we ultimately start going back down inside of this cycle. We're going to repeat the same damn thing here, guys. I'm here to say that. I think we can run up to 109 to 110, which would be, decent ways up still. But I don't believe it's going to change anything as far as this type of move that's going to be found on the downside. Wherever the heck the top is, I don't know. But this is ultimately going to come, and I believe that this is going to come all the way back down, and this will be a major cycle top in the same way that it was over here, right? So when that happens, that's when we're going to see commodities go on an absolute ballistic run, because I believe that we're due for one. Look at what all the money that they printed in the last couple of years. Look at all of the stuff that they're doing inside of the economy. The economy isn't in a healthy position by any means, and I don't believe that the dollar is going to be showing strength, especially with us coming up on midterm elections. It's in their best interest for them to have the stock market going up. If the stock market's going up, there's confidence in the economy. If there's confidence in the economy, people are going to re-elect those same people. Then why would they choose to vote out somebody that has, is keeping them in their portfolios, their 401ks and all of that in profit? You're just not going to see it. Now, another thing, let's look at the price of gold here. Let's actually drop it to a bigger time frame so that we can see where we're at. So gold had a bigger picture higher high. We made a new all-time high. We retested. We came back up to retest this previous high, but we got stuffed, and then we ended up falling back down once again. So let's look at the shorter time frames as far as what we're seeing here. Now, this was just a bull trap. We retested. We didn't have enough momentum to break out. That's when the dollar started going on its massive parabolic run. But when we look at the price of gold, this is just your classic ABC correction in the same way that it is with the S&P 500. Even if the S&P 500 rejects here, falls, retests this low, or even if we make a short-term lower low like that, it doesn't necessarily change anything on the big picture other than the fact that this is going to be experiencing some type of reversal very soon. And I think that gold is also showing that as well. Keep in mind that these 5 waves can extend. I mean, this could drop all the way down to about just under $18,000 per ounce, about $17,080. And so we can expect to see some more short-term volatility, like I said. But this, to me, looks like a point where we're going to see a reversal inside the market. I don't know what more I can say besides that. Like I said, if we come over to Bitcoin, all of the signs are here to a major cycle low. I mean, yeah, if you believe that this is the cycle top that happened at the end of November of last year, then you're going to sit here and say that we're going to be going into a new bear market. I don't believe that. I don't believe that this is a bear market. I believe that it's just a short-term consolidation before our final move inside of the cycle. And so that's what I wanted to give you guys, was this little update. Let's go into the shorter time frame. Let's talk about some of the stuff that we're seeing here. In the shorter time frame, I'm not going to try and get too much into depth with this because the short volatility is something to be expected. I'm not going to sit here and try and predict exactly what's going to happen in the short term. But what I can say is our major support level here at 28,000, 800, whatever it is, we could expect to see a bounce off of this level. We would like to see us bottom somewhere in here. But like I said, in the same way that COVID saw us drop all the way back down into the midpoint of this wick, this thing could easily drop in between 27,000, 27,500. And this could get even more volatility than that. We really have no idea 100%. It really hinges upon the dollar, like I stated. There's a number of factors that we have to be watching. Inside of the dollar, we have a lot of momentum still. One of the things that we can look towards is when is that bullish momentum going to die out. We can look at the RSI because there is the potential for bearish divergence in here. This has been forming, but as the price keeps going up, this is also going to keep trending up. And so if this gets to a point where we're making a higher high, then that's just going to show that there's more momentum going in that favor. But like I said, guys, this has had a decent size move past those highs. And this is still forming a lower high on the RSI, so this is something to watch as we develop. I still believe that this is going to go up a little bit higher from here. That just makes the most sense to me, especially as we're going to get a close inside the stock market. Bitcoin's going to show more volatility, and we'll probably just start kind of trending slowly up like we have been. But, this is to the point where I believe we're going to get some type of cycle top. It could go up to 109, like I said in prior videos. That was a point that we were watching for resistance. But these are the things that I'm personally watching the closest to. Big things hinge upon the stock market bottoming. It hinges upon the dollar topping. And once that happens, the signs are there that the commodities and Bitcoin and equities are ready to go up. It's just really hinging upon when the dollar stops ultimately having its run up. So anyways, guys, if you found value in this, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of these amazing videos. If you guys want to join the Discord server, download my free ebook. Links are in the description for that. You guys can also sign up for my VIP, follow the trades, all my analysis that I do and private stuff inside my Discord. It's going to get taught to you in there. Links are in the description to go ahead and sign up on my website. Thank you guys so much for the support. And with that being said, I will catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.